Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This video here is going to be the first of a multi-day series I want to do, fishing just little greenways within an hour of where I live. And if you're wondering what a greenway is usually a shared use path in a urban or rural setting set aside for environmental protection or recreational use. So any little trail system or park or thing like something like that with, jungle gyms and, exercise equipment, and as you can tell, little tennis fields, stuff like that. A park, basically. A lot of them usually have creeks and things like that running alongside them, so we're going to try to find one for each video and keep them within an hour of where I live and see what we can catch them. So let's go fishing. I'm also using a different camera because my GoPro 9 apparently decided to crap itself. And yeah, that's kind of my fault too. Tried to do some underwater filming with it and it took in water and works, but the audio is screwed. So we're working with a GoPro Hero 11 with Creek Fishing Adventures loaned me. So let's see how this works out. I've also only fished this creek one other time. I don't think I even made a video on it, but I see one. See if we can catch one. Alright, we're going to go down a little ways. I kind of want to go the opposite direction, but I really don't know what any of this creek looks like, because it's been about a year and a half, 2 years since I've been down here. And I'm also not going to name this little creek because I'm not giving out spots. Hey, we got something. What it is? It's barely hooked too. Fine specimen of a long-eared sunfish. Man, them are some pretty fish. See, a lot of these little greenways and stuff, they've got, like I said, little creeks or streams or something running along them. And they, more often than not, have some decent fish in them. Like that one, I kind of jacked up the leg of it. But I just got that one on a little 64th ounce ball head jig with a just a brown trout magnet. Pretty much anything that just looks like a little bug falling out of a lot of the trees and bushes is going to be plenty to get their attention. This little spot looks promising. Got quite a bit of rocks. The stream is split off in two places. Got a slightly deeper pocket right here, plus a calmer spot. Ain't no telling. And I think most of what's right there in that little pocket's too small to get it down, which it takes quite a bit for something to be too small to get a trout magnet down. As slim as those profiles are and as small as they are. There we go, that was quick. What do we got? Fine specimen of a, what I would believe is a female red-breast sunfish. Now, is there anything else down there that wants to eat? Yep, apparently there is. Just a bluegill there, not anything huge, but we'll count it. I'll take numbers of small fish like that one all day, every day, if it means catching fish. Typically your little greenways and stuff like this are actually going to be in pretty good shape depending on how well your Parks and Rec maintain the area. This one seems to be in pretty good shape. I mean, there is, typical trash floating around, because and now I'm stuck. Because, water rises, floods, stuff like that. It's going to carry trash from elsewhere. but a lot of them are typically in pretty good shape. Dang, I got bit 2 times there, 3 times. They're just too small. Nah, I got that one though. What are you? You are just a little creek chub. We might switch up and try something different once we go back down the way we started from, but that just depends on how well everything bites, and so far it's not been too bad. So don't fix what ain't broke, basically. That's another one. Well, that was a creek chub, but we did come in contact with it. Oh shoot, I think that was right off the bat. I'll go over my setup here in just a little bit, tell you what I'm using and all that, and that's going to be a massive snag unless I can get a danglefish. Oh shoot, and I had a danglefish. Well, don't look like I'm getting that one back. Ooh, got something decent here. What do we got? Oh wow, look at this red breast. And that thing is in really pretty colors. It's all about that little trout magnet. Let's get a picture and chunk it back. Oh, that one just hammered it. Got this another species, little greenie. Alright, you can get them fins down now. No flopping, no flopping. Save us both the trouble. You don't spine me and I don't eat you across this creek. That's how we roll. You know, the one downside to using hooks without collars on them to keep your bait in place is, of course, they slide everywhere. But I would rather take 2 seconds to readjust a bait than have to replace a bait because of that collar tearing it to pieces. Stay hooked, stay hooked, stay hooked. You've got to be the teeny tiniest green sunfish, and you're probably the one over there that had enough attitude to get that one down. So I'm not going to spend any more time down here under this bridge, because that seems like that's all that's down here is micro shiners and micro sunnies. So we are going to make our way downstream and see if we can find something just a smidge bigger. Now, as with the majority of, small creek sessions like this, you don't need any kind of heavy gear. Just a pack of, jig heads and some small grubs, a little ultralight rod. I think it's a bad place to do this. But a little ultralight rod, 1000 or 500 series reel. And it's, 2, 4, or 6 pound line. It's plenty. The rod and reel we're using today is a ACC crappie stick, 6-foot, 1-piece, split grip, medium light with a Shimano Stratic 1000 and 12-pound JDM braid. And really, you don't need braid that heavy for small creeks like this. The reason I've got this set up here is this JDM braid is the same diameter as, say, 6 to 7 pound braid. So it's much, much stronger, but much, much smaller in diameter, which is going to help with your casting with these ultralight jigs. There's actually a bunch of little fish right here off this bank, and I'm trying to stay back a little bit, which I know they already seen me, but that's besides the point. Hey, we got something. What do we got? Seems like I have the same problem here as I do up on the river. There we go. Dude. Just barely hooked. That's one of the biggest green sunfish I've caught in a long time. Well, probably the second biggest of this year. Pretty little fish like this. Is Creek Fishing Adventures made his hats off of these fish, and there's a reason why. When everything's all nice and cold outside and, you know, stuck up for the winter and just not biting and you're just waiting for that spring bite, when you start seeing those green sunfish come out, when you start seeing them come out to play, that means the creeks are livening up, getting more active. Hey, there's a sock. And the fishing is going to get better. You know, I've got a small box of teeny tiny little crankbaits and stuff like that I should try, but I'm hard-headed, and once I tie one thing on, I just stay with it. How did I manage to lasso the tail of my own lure? You get special talents when you're using braid. You tie knots in places that shouldn't have knots tied. I got you that time. What it is, what it is. Ah. Chill. Little freshwater piranha. Little long-eared sunfish. Like, these things are so aggressive. And they always have real pretty colors like that on them. Small ones, big ones, spring, summer, fall. I never really see them during the winter time, but they always have those real pretty colors like that on them. There's a couple little, not little, but decent size for compared to what we caught. Bluegill or something other over there. It's just getting a cast accurate. Like, I can reach it, but I've got so much odd placed brush overhanging here. And it's still gonna be a nightmare if I get lucky and catch one because of all this stuff in front of me. Got that one. It's a decent redbreast, probably the biggest fish of the day. Pretty fish. I think that's about the only one over there that's willing to bite anyway. Let's go back down to the little log jam. What are these things? Like, they're all over this tree, and I seen them in another spot in a previous video, but they're about the size of an egg, and they smell really fruity, almost like a pear, but sweeter. But they're definitely not pears. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, check out that top link in the description. That's my mule fishing affiliate link. Whenever you buy something through that link, I get a little bit of a kickback. Mule fishing's got all sorts of goodies. Little tackle boxes, hats, plastics, bobbers, jig heads, spinner stuff, you name it. There's all kinds of goodies over there. So if you like the channel and you want to support it, go buy you some stuff through that link. And let's get back to fishing. Hey, that came out of nowhere. Monstro El Gigante. Pretty little fish. Sitting here stripping some braid off of my rod because this JDM stuff, it's so fine it frays easily. I think that'll be enough to get us in a good clean slate to work with. And I believe I'm going to tie on one of the little micro jigs in my other box. That way I can get some of these other tiny little fish down here where we were. Take our line and put it in our pocket instead of leaving it laying. And none other than our handy dandy mule fishing box. We've got some 1/80th, 100th, and 1/200th ounce jigs. And I believe what we'll do is go with one of these little, I think these are 100th ounce or 1/80th ounce. And I forget what this is actually called, but it's a little ice fishing grub from Saki Fishing. I'll leave it on the screen or in the description one. But the knot that I like to use for this JDM braid, since it's so fine, is just a Palomar knot, but doubled over. So one loop through, second loop, well, help if I didn't drop my jig, and then just tighten her down, and you good to go. Caught something. What she is? Chill out, homie. Another species. That is a common shiner. I had somebody comment in one video saying that these were a dace. These are not a dace, but they're fun fish. They're super aggressive, and there's usually a lot of them whenever you find one. Oh, heck, I didn't even realize that one hit the water. Another little common shiner. I've seen a couple more swimming along the bank down here. We got a little bit of a stoppage. Hopefully there'll be something swimming along down yonder. Oh, well, you was all about it. Yeah, you're a little red. I was reeling up to recast, and that one came along and grabbed her. These little red breasts are just super, super colorful. All right, we're gonna give her just a few more minutes, because I think this has been a successful enough trip for this little Greenway. I want to hit this little end right here, walk away around, or a ways around, and see what all is lurking in these majestic waters. No, that's not worth casting into. It's not deep enough, and I can already tell there's nothing over there. This looks promising though. It's not real deep, but it's slow moving water. I mean, there is some current, but it's slow enough moving water. And it's usually in places like this right here is where you're going to find a lot of your shiners and creek chubs and things like that. Yep, there was one bite from one. Your shiners and creek chubs, though, they typically like to hold off on the outer edges, especially in the deeper parts like that right there, right on the edge of that calmer water. Well, we got something. That is a creek chub of some sort. Yeah, it's a creek chub of some sort. There's about 4 billion different species of creek chubs. I'm not too familiar with all of them, but creek chub is close enough for now, at least. You're probably wondering, why am I bothering with 12-pound braid, and such a heavy rod and line for these little creek chubs and shiners and stuff like that? Well, this rod is really my multi-purpose rod. I can throw some big inline spinners, jigs, stuff like that for crappie, bass. And the rod's also soft enough to throw really light jigs like this, like these little 1/100th ounce jigs and plastics, paired with, light enough line to do so. But with that 12-pound braid being as thin diameter as it is, if I were to come across a little bit bigger fish, I've got the line to handle it, and more than enough rod, because like I said, this is I believe a medium light rod. Well, medium fast, but it feels more like a medium light to me, which Medium light is a very, very versatile power rod. Of course, it's different from brand to brand, but you know, it can handle throwing light stuff. It can throw bigger stuff. Oh, there was one, I missed it. Darn it. I know for a fact that there's some hiding right there, like right in the back of this little pocket behind these bushes, because they're coming out and hitting it every time I get it close. Oh, shoot. I got that one. What the heck? Like, what am I supposed to do with you? Little bitty tiny green sunfish. Like, that isn't... Stop. That is an aquarium size fish. If I had one, I would probably keep one sometime, but I don't, so that one goes back. See if we can get back in there one or two more times and see what's in there. Gotcha. I watched you kind of eyeball it. You know, like I've said before, I've probably got people watching this or come across it and think, why is he having fun with such tiny fish? And probably thinking, why is he taking pictures of every fish he catches? Well, one, I'm a numbers angler. I prefer catching numbers of fish regardless of how big they are or how small they are. I ain't going to complain if I get into something big, but I'm more about catching numbers of fish and seeing what all other little species, there we go, got something else, what other species are hiding in these little creeks that nobody targets. Another little creek, El Chubbaroni. And secondly, I take pictures of every fish that I catch because I have a logbook. And when I get to where I update my logbook, I just delete the pictures. That way I don't have a billion pictures of fish on my phone. Ooh, there's something nice right there. Well, that's not what I casted for, but I'll take it. But yeah, another little common shiner. Somebody said those were dace. Dace have a more pointed face than, no pun intended, than a common shiner does. Common shiners have a lot bigger scales. I've got something there. Oh, shoot. Yeah, we got it back. It's a little bitty red. That was quick. Now this, dadgummit, it came off. I made a kind of irrational decision to cast well over that log right there, or that tree. And as soon as it hit the water, something grabbed it. But unfortunately, it didn't stay hooked. And you know what? Screw it. We're going to go ahead and call it. We caught fish. And that is all that matters. Got to experience a semi-new creek. Like I said a dozen times already. I've only fished here one or two other times. And this has definitely been the best of those times that I've fished this. So I'll see y'all here in just a minute. Alright, well, that is the end of it. It was a pretty good trip down here. Now, like I said, these greenways are in every state and probably in just about every town. So if you want to find a greenway, just look up greenways near me or something like that on Google or Apple Maps, Google Maps, or Onyx maybe. And you'll find some of these little parks and just look for a little walking trail that goes around it, or follows a little path of sorts, or within a reasonable walk of a lot of them. Now, I don't know about every single state, but nearly all of them around here it's not bad of a walk. They're usually like within a few feet of them. But anyway, I'm gonna get home, get started on editing this video, and try to figure out where I want to, or what greenway I want to fish tomorrow or in the next day or so, because I would like to do at least 5. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is probably the farthest away that we're going to get in most of this, besides one other place, and this is about an hour, a little over an hour from where I live at. And anyway, we're going to just mess around with one bass rod and one smaller rod to throw some panfish stuff and see what all we can catch, because we're not looking for any particular size of fish. We're looking for numbers so that we can really just call this a success. Anyway, let's get to fishing. All right, I have no idea what any of this creek looks like, so I'm really just winging it. But starting out with a bass rod, this one is a 7.2 medium heavy Shimano Intenza with a SLX 150 and I believe 30-pound braid. But I've got a Super Fluke rigged up on that, and then our 6-foot medium light ACC crappie stick. I don't need to jab my rod in the ground like that. 1000 Stratic, 12-pound braid, and we're going to start out with a trout magnet on it. And it does not look like this right here is going to happen. This is heavily growed up. Might be something farther down the creek here though. All right. Well, probably wasting our time because this is not very deep right here. We're going to start off at this bridge, just chucking a fluke around. It would help if I knew how to cast. Alright, there's somebody down past me that's already fishing out the spot that I want to go to, but it's whatever. So, we're going to switch out, see if we can find some bluegill. I know I've seen some along through here, it's just we're fishing around a lot of grass. Hey, we finally got our first fish, and it's pretty much what I expected. I may have to switch to a little bit smaller hook because I'm using the trout magnets, but it's the panfish magnet head, which is a little bit bigger than the standard one. But monster green sunfish about didn't make it through all this grass. He's just fighting too hard. What's weird is I'm still, with it being in the middle, actually the end of August now, still seeing fish guarding beds. I mean, it's bluegill and such, but that's besides the point. Another one. Another big old greenie. There's like a little wolf pack of them just swirling on everything that's down there, and none of them are any bigger than this. I don't want to spend too much time messing with them because I'm really curious as to what that creature is down there in the creek. It's probably muskrat or beaver or something, but I want to know. I got questions that need answering. That's exactly what I thought was about to happen. Started getting some bites, and first decent cast I get into some deeper water, and I snag and break off. So, oh yeah, I forgot I got a rod in my backpack. I don't need to scrape that against the bridge. Got you. Wow. I'm pretty sure this is a hybrid of some sort, because chill. I think this is a hybrid sunfish of some sort. God, that thing is pretty. It's definitely not full-blown bluegill. Either way, that thing is gorgeous. Hey, chill. Alright, I wouldn't be opposed to another one of them. It's just they were over here and all this stuff, so I have to really watch my snags. Gotcha. Definitely just a little Gilbert. Now one thing, excuse the noise, we're under the highway obviously. I went ahead and put a fluorocarbon leader on because I noticed a lot of the fish when we first started were just kind of nosing the bait and not really committing to it. And as soon as I put that fluorocarbon leader on, the bite started to actually pick up. Tell you what, these bluegill up here are meaner than the ones we got down home. They just got a lot more beef to them. I really wish I'd brought my slime rag down here. These poor shorts are going to be soaked by the time I'm done. Let's see if this is any easier fishing off this side here. Another one. What do we got? Little red breast. He slipped off, but we got him, so it's all right. Now that one just came out of nowhere. I do think that fluorocarbon leader definitely helped though, because we fished all the way from where we first started at, all the way down along this creek, just pretty much anywhere that we could get down close enough to the water, and nothing. And now I put this fluorocarbon leader on just down here and started catching fish. Ooh. Tell you what, that's another species for the day. So we've caught green sunfish, bluegill, red breast, red ear now, and I'm pretty sure one was a hybrid. But these things just hit different, and I don't mean to sound like Gen Z and all that. They literally just hit different. Like these bluegill and stuff that we've caught so far, even the little ones have just hit it and made you think, man, there's something big on. Finally caught one over here. That is a little red, a red of the breast. I'm not going to give this spot too much longer just because I've already been down here for a few minutes, and seems like the only thing that's biting is the itty bitty little stuff. Hey, first bass fish of the day. Honestly thought it was just a big bluegill. Chill. Large head. And I've noticed the more open parts of this creek, fish ain't been really biting worth a crap. I mean, I get it one or two here and there, but it seems like under the bridges, where there's obviously a lot more structure, is, where did I cast that to? Underneath the bridges is where the majority of the fish are. Yeah, I just hooked and lost something good right here. Okay. Well, you could have been what I hooked and lost into, or hooked into and lost a second ago, but we'll take you. I do have to be a little bit careful while I'm using a 12-pound main. I've just got a 4-pound fluorocarbon leader on here, just because you want something that's similar diameter. You don't want to take like 8-pound braid and put a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader on there. The diameters are too different. Oh, I got a fish. And I had a fish, but the fish got wrapped around stick, and stick got fish off. Dude. Jeez. Chill. That is, open your mouth, one of the biggest perch that I've caught this year, if not the biggest I've caught this year. Gotta hide this monster. Somebody's come around with fishing rods. I don't need him to see the monsters that I'm catching and then swoop in on the spot. I could go for a couple more of them. Got it, but it's in all this grass. Jeez, it's just a trog of a bluegill. There's several other fishermen coming down and playing around on this bank, so I found this one little pocket here. It kind of connects to this little cove that we were, actually directly connects. I don't know why I said it kind of connects to this little cove we were just in. Alright, maybe it's just because this is a newer camera than what I've been filming with. Still the Hero 11 in the last video, but I know my batteries are charged, but it's saying cold battery or some crap like that, and that it's at 0%, which is a bunch of crap because I know it's charged. Oh shoot, there's some big bluegill and stuff right here in front of me, and there's one of them. They were more or less fighting over it. That is a pretty bluegill. Hopefully my camera's recording. I wouldn't be opposed to 5, 6, 7, 11 more of them. Got it. I was expecting that too, and I also I would have got me another fish right there, but somebody's broke line decided to get in the way, And now I'm snagged on another branch. Got you. Ain't real big, but I got you. I about figured these bluegill out. The smart ones are staying in the shade. The dumb ones ain't. This is one of those cases where I need a cane pole or one of my longer rods. That way I can just poke it right into one of these holes in the trees and do what I gotta do instead of try to cast into it. Oh, got one. Had to kind of blind cast around this pillar over here to my right, and this little redbreast came up and got her. Why am I reaching for my phone in my pocket? It's sitting right here in front of me. Well, we're not doing too bad today. Didn't catch nearly the size I was hoping to catch by coming up here, because I never come up here at all. I take that back. I come up here every couple of months, but that's about it. Didn't even feel this one bite, which is rare. I would have screenshot one of my other ones. This is just a little Gilbert. There we go. Well, I didn't mean to flop you on the concrete. Well, there is the snag. And tell you what we're going to do. Since we are pretty much back to where, well, almost back to the vehicle, we're going to call her quits, because everywhere we fished between here and the vehicle didn't catch anything, barely even got a bite. So I will see y'all when we get back to the vehicle. There you are, just teasing me. And you too. Y'all wasn't up here when I came up here when I first got here. Neither were you little goobers. Well, y'all, that was a fun little trip. I mean, we got a pretty good hike in, but compared to the last time I was up here, which I didn't catch crap the last time I did, which I don't think I did. I don't know. It's been a long time, but anyway, as you can tell, this is in the middle of town, like a lot of these greenways are. Some of them are a little bit more secluded, but get on your Google Maps, your Apple Maps, Onyx, whatever you use, and just kind of spend a couple of minutes every day or whenever you can and just scour your town or whatever town you frequent for little greenways and walking paths and things like that. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Day 3 of the 5 greenways in 5 days deal. Excuse the noise, we're right on the side of the highway too. But this is one of the biggest places that we're going to fish. Like, this place has got several fields for, what is it, disc golf or whatever it's called. Baseball fields, soccer fields, football fields, you name it, walking tracks, and a pond that during the winter I know gets stocked with trout, which there won't be any in there right now because it's not real deep, but it also is very hot and not very oxygenated, so those trout are not going to be in there right now. So might come back up here this winter and mess around with the trout. But anyway, not really going to focus on the pond all that much. Instead, we're going to hit this little creek down here or see what all we can catch. And there's also a little micro spillway at the edge of this little creek, so let's get down here and see what all we can catch. Alright, this is the little micro spillway, which unfortunately doesn't have hardly any water in it. So there's really no telling if there's anything at all in here that can be caught right now. One other time that I was here, I know was a massive snapping turtle. And wow, this water stinks. Like, it's just stinks. Hey, we're not skunked. What do we have here? Micro green sunfish, and man, that thing's cold. Itty bitty little green sunfish. I'm getting pecked like crazy by stuff down that way, but it's just too small to get it down. I'm not going to spend too much time in this little pocket here because there's really never anything in here. And there's another tiny little green sunfish. A little bit bigger than the last one. I'll just screenshot my other one. That's enough for here, so. Anyway, we're going to try to make our way down that way and then go back down to the main part of this creek. Yeah, I figured before going down the creek, we'll mess around with this pond for a few minutes. I've already seen a couple little things like real close to the bank, but I think it's just stuff hiding underneath all this moss and garbage. Alright, that's enough of that. May go down to the very end of this because there's a little bit of a creek that feeds into another pond down there. But I don't know, we'll figure that out when we cross that bridge, no pun intended. Alright. See if we can get down here without getting bit by a snake. Alright, well, there's something. Ooh, whoa, chill. There's no need for all of that frivolity that you threw on me like that. Pretty little green sunfish. Probably going to call it quits real quick for this little creek because it meets where I want to go, just right down here. But the closer we get to it on this little trail, the narrower it gets. Like, this is wide compared to what it gets to. So might try to cast a little bit right there because it's a little bit deeper. Like, this whole section right here is only like 2 feet deep at the most. And there we go. Another species. Which I'm honestly not surprised that we caught this one here. Well, that was a little warmouth sunfish. Kind of wish I got a picture, but I didn't. It's alright. Alright, I give up. I'm not trying no longer. I saw several fish come just out of nowhere, but they're really too small to hit. Like, there's one or two that are actually decent size that could actually work, but they wanted nothing to do with it, so we're moving on. Are you serious? Snagging fucking break off on the very first cast after retying from snagging and breaking off. Alright, I completely forgot about the lower end of this creek because it's a little bit of a walk from where we were, but there's almost no flow and it's a continuous deeper pocket. So I'm going to retie and give this down here a shot because I have fished this before and caught quite a few fish. Nothing impressive because it was mostly creek chubs and shiners and stuff like that. But beats driving somewhere, getting worms and coming back or going somewhere else. So fish. What it is. Man, it feels pretty good. Ah, it's because it is. Jeez. You can calm that spiciness down now. Chillax. Well, never mind. Now I gotta remember a red breast and warmouth. It ain't really helping that the majority of this creek is kind of dingy and not really muddy, but not really clear enough that it's making this any easier. Like the first little portion that we fished definitely was the cleanest. This is just stained nastiness, and you know, fish are biting. Like as soon as I got down here, I started getting a couple of bites, but not enough to really make it worth the trouble. Fish, and it's gonna be a dangle fish too, because right over the top of that branch right yonder. All right, let me step back away from this bank for a second so that I don't fall in, because that's only about 10 feet down. All right, another red. Anyway, that one fought a lot harder than it should have for its size, but I'm not going to complain. Not gonna complain one bit at all. Oh, that came out of nowhere. That one's a decent one too. Jeez, I was literally about to give up on this particular spot here, but this stud of a redbreast came along. Decided it wanted a green and black trout magnet, and I gave it to him. This has definitely turned out to be a much slower trip than anticipated. Still irritated that my gas station didn't have worms at it. I mean, there's plenty of, you know, other places. Oh, as soon as it hit the water, something bit it. I mean, there's plenty of other places that I could have stopped and got worms at. But that's just like the gas station for me. Like, that's the regular, like, go-to place. And once, you know, a place is like a regular, or you're a regular at a place, it just doesn't feel right going somewhere else. Got it. I don't know if that's a bed over there, away from the vines. But I had a cast a second ago that it hit it as soon as it hit the water and dropped it in there. Got another one. You know, if I can get a couple more about like that, I might be able to salvage this video. And I thought y'all had some fish slime on you. I've semi got the issue figured out with the batteries that I'm using with this camera. This is a Hero 11. I'm using batteries, well, not this one, using some of my old batteries that I used in my Hero 9. Well, they work, but they're not compatible 100%. So what they're doing is when I put them in, I turn the camera on, it'll say cold battery, error, or whatever, and it'll just turn the screens off but still record. And it'll also show just 1% on the battery even though it's charged. So I did some research, and it probably ain't good for the batteries or the camera, but it works. You can take the compatible batteries, which these here are the Wasabi Enduro batteries for the Hero 9, 10, and 11. And before you turn it off, just yank the battery out and put the older battery in. And I guess the residual, whatever's left of it running, will recognize that old battery as a new one and run with the screens on. But the battery percentage still shows 1 even though the battery's charged. So anyway, it does record, it does work that way. I did it with a previous video and everything turned out fine. That must be the reason why I ain't getting no freaking bites, is these damn otters. Alright, finally got one of the little goobers that was nibbling on it down here on the side of the bank. Itty bitty little bluegill. Monster. Like, there's fish in this creek right now, but everything that I've come across besides, you know, the couple of reds have been entirely too small to really bother with. And it doesn't help that there's, what is it, soft shell or whatever, and otters swimming around in here. Well, it appears that I have reached the end of fishable bank. Like, I don't know where private property starts down there, but right up there is the expo center. So I'm still on property of this Greenway. Ooh. The little shoal pays off. Chill. Been casting around down here for a few minutes and ain't really caught much of nothing or even got a bite except for this one. But I figured just maybe there's a little pocket right here that there's really low current and some shade. But you know what? Right there might be the ticket. And it was. And since I caught something down here, I'm thirsty, I'm gonna make my way back and might possibly hit one more spot that I didn't on the way back here. I don't know, since the rest of this trail didn't really produce a whole heck of a lot, I may not bother with it. But fish were caught. That's all that matters. And there's a dead bird. A big dead bird. Well, we're back at the house, and that was a rough trip. Okay, it was like 4 hours of fishing that creek for like 10 little fish. But, you know, that just goes to show, you know, not every creek is the same. Not everything's going about the same. You know, this creek I never really fish, so I really don't know too much about it. So anyway, it happens. You know, we caught a couple of fish. Wasn't nothing impressive, but fish were caught, and just another successful video. So anyway, I don't know exactly where the next video is going to be at on this little 5 Greenway deal. So anyway, check out all the links in the description, especially the top link if you want to support the channel. Fishing in the middle of town. What all can we catch today? That is the question. We're at my local Greenway in the middle of town, like literally in the middle of town. There's businesses right across the creek. There's restaurants, schools. Well, I don't know about schools. Houses. I mean, we're literally in the middle of town. Not in a semi kind of urban thing. We're full on urban. I was looking at fish. But yeah, this creek and Greenway go from one end of the town to the other. So anyway, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to try to catch us some fish on this little Greenway and have fun doing it. It's very surprising how big the fish in this creek can get. The biggest that I've ever caught is to this spot that we're walking to now, and it's about 2 pounds. So at least for this creek, that is a big size fish. So anyway, let's get to fishing. It's actually pretty hard to film down here because, you know, not everybody wants to be filmed. So I usually try to keep my camera off or something like that when I'm around others. Yeah, there might be something hiding down in there. Oh, there it is. Got it. Chill, chill, chill. That is our local buddy, the Coosa bass. Very pretty little fish. I didn't even see him sitting in the creek right down there. But there's a ton of little fish in this spot right here. Most of them just little shiners and things like that. Got it. He's wrapped up in some trash down there though. Well, that was 100% expected. He got wrapped up in some trash and didn't want to come out. And just to make it easier on myself, instead of digging through my backpack, I'm just going to keep this little trout magnet kit in my pocket. You know what? What we're going to do, where'd it go? We're going to use one of these little black and chartreuse ones. Got it. Had to take a guess on that one, but another pretty little Coosa bass. Don't really have room to cast, so I had to do a little dock shooting there. Let's get it back. Oh, well, fortunately he landed in a hole in a log and not on the log. But I'd retied the little 64-ounce jig in a little trout magnet crawl. So I have to do some shooting to get in there. What do we have? Little micro Coosa bass, little baby one. Starting to stink pretty bad, at least down here. And there's another one. What do we have? That's a little red breast sunfish. Pretty little fish. That one just came up out of nowhere and grabbed it. kind of disappointed, if I'm being honest, because this bite is much slower than I figured it would be. Because I have fished this creek several times in the past, and it's just one right after another. Fish that got off. Couldn't tell what that one was. It looked kind of like a little coosa bass or another little shiner, and that was definitely a shiner that just bit it. Got him. What do we have here? Chill. That is just a really dark bluegill. I honestly thought it was a green sunny at first. It's kind of hard to tell in a lot of this shade, but the fish are definitely interested. I think what's hurting me in this clear water though is not using the fluorocarbon leader, because I've already broke off once or twice and that chewed up all of my leader. Which I've got the stuff to swap it out with me. It's just doing it. A little red. There's actually a little coosa bass right over there where this thing was that I would prefer catching, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Alright, we've had a little bit of a change of plans. Went downstream about 1/8 of a mile or so. Caught a couple of fish, a lot of them just weren't emitting. So we're going to go back to where we started at and go upstream a good ways, because I know there's a little waterfall on this creek. Not much of one, but it's one of the deeper parts in this section of the creek. And usually there's some fish hiding in there, so we want to hit the spots that we've already hit on the way down, on the way back to where we started, and then go up. Alright, I don't know how many times, actually I think it's twice, that I have snagged myself in the shirt or something, like in the back. It's been irritating. And there was a fish I want to catch. I should probably pay attention to where I'm walking instead of looking in this creek for fish, but I went ahead and retied a little fluorocarbon leader because this water is super clear. And something was hitting it immediately, and something came off. But generally, the rule of thumb when you're fishing really small creeks like this that are super clear, don't just walk right up to the creek. You know, cast from a distance. But the downside is to this right here is a lot of times you don't have that option. And there's a suitcase. Fish. This is a good one too. Well, for the size of the creek, that is. New species for the day. Little Reginald. That right there is one of my favorite like creek bass or species of creek bass that there are. Because depending on where you're fishing at, if they're mixed in with like smallmouth, you won't know whether you've got a smallmouth on or if you have, well, a rock bass. But they're definitely one of my favorite species of bass to fish for. Well, catch, not so much fish for. And another thing with one of these, or these little creeks like this, is it doesn't take long to burn a spot out, because, you know, you catch one decent fish, a lot of commotion from that fish splashing around, it's going to spook pretty much everything else. So don't spend too much time on these really small creeks like this. Just, you know, hop from spot to spot to spot and relieve that place of as much pressure as you can, which sometimes in this particular creek here can mean walking, you know, a few feet to half a mile in spots. But anyway, let's get back to fishing. Gotcha. What do we have? Well, he popped off, but we got him. Another little Reginald. Got it. Another one. Dude, this is probably the biggest fish of the day. Dude, look at this rock bass. This tiny little urban creek, that's probably an 8 or 9 inch rock bass. I mean, this creek probably ain't 30 feet wide and maybe 2 feet deep at the most. And look at that eye. Let's get you back. So far, after retying with the fluorocarbon leader, we've been picking up a couple more fish, but just using a little red and black trout magnet. I think it's the bulldog color or something like that. 1/64 ounce head. And little tiny creeks like this, you don't need anything bigger than that. 180s, 164s, you know, that's plenty. Another one. Did you get that one down too far to get out? It's another little rock bass. He almost got it down too far, but we can manage it. Well, got it out and then rehooked him. Pretty fish. I'll just screenshot one of my other ones. I'm just waiting for the people who complain about tossing them back like that. Well, I think we've caught all the little rock bass out of that little pocket over there by that rock. So I'm going to show you how I shoot these little spots like this when you don't have a ton of room to cast. What I'd like to do is get my lure well above my reel, like 15, 16, 18 inches, something like that. That way I got a good amount of tension that I can put on that rod tip, because you're working with that rod tip. But what I want to do is put my line in the direction that I want to cast and just let go. But you definitely don't want to you don't want to grab it or grab the head of your jig with the hook facing your fingers like that. I like doing it with, well, pretty much sticking straight up like that. That way when it goes flying, the hook is going away from my fingers. You know, one of these days I need to just sit down and categorize all of my videos and just put them on a playlist, which I do have playlists on the channel. So if you want to go to a specific type of content, you can go there. But the last time I added anything to a playlist was a very long time ago, so there's a lot that needs to be relisted. I don't know how well y'all can see them, but there's like 6 or 7 little bluegill and stuff right there in that gap of the rocks. Got it. Just pitched that one in there for a gill that's barely hooked. I'll just screenshot one of my other ones. Maybe we can nab one right here. But can we do it with 4% left on my battery? We certainly can, and it feels pretty good. Dude. That's just another trog of a rock bass. This thing is a stud. You never know what is hiding in these little urban creeks. Let's get you back. And my battery is about shot, so let's swap her out and catch some more fish. What do we catch? Will it stay on? Because if it falls down in all that mess, I'm not bothering with it. Beast of a gill, and you got some funk going on with your butthole back there. So, we'll get you back. I'll screenshot one of my other ones. Another one. What are you? This one just don't want to come unhooked. Very pretty bluegill. Tell you what, these fish ain't real big, but we're catching numbers of fish, and that is all that matters. Now once, like I said, once you catch a couple of fish out of a small spot like this right here, like where I can control, which what I mean by that is where I can cast to, that is all I'm worried about. I'm not worried about over here. I'm not worried about up there. Once you catch a couple of fish in that tiny little spot, move on, because you're putting a ton of pressure on that little bitty spot. Tell you what, this one trout magnet has taken a beating. Unfortunately, these hooks, or these jig heads I'm using, don't have collars on them, so it won't tear the bait apart nearly as bad. Oh, really? That was kind of expected. Got it. And of course I'm tangled up on everything in front of me though. You're not the one I was actually looking for, but we'll take you. Okay. Well, that's mildly disappointing. I figured this would have been considerably deeper, but it's not. Gotcha. Rubbing on the rocks. Big time. What do we got? Got us another little Reginald. Yeah, I can get you out. I can get it out. All the while getting tangled in everything above me with my line. Itty bitty little Reginald. Whoops, that was not nearly as deep as I thought it was. Oh well, he's not floating, so. What are you? You are another coosa bass. Man, these are some of the meanest little bass around here. And I'm already tangled up in the trees above me. But these things right here, you don't find them everywhere. Like there are some species of bass that are real similar to them, like the shoal bass and all that. But the coosa bass can only really be found in southeast Tennessee, north Georgia, northeast Alabama, and extreme western North Carolina. their range is not real big. Alright, what's this one? Little Red. Man, this thing ain't real big, but it sure is pretty. It's got a lot of color. Tell you what, we're just going to give it a couple more minutes and then work our way back, because it's been a successful enough trip already. But this is the little spot that I've caught the biggest bass I've ever caught out of this creek, which is actually on this side here, because this is several feet deep on the back side of this. But I was throwing just a little topwater frog, like a little bitty micro one. It went off as expected. Gotcha. This one's a little bit nicer, was a little bit nicer for this pocket. That was a good rock bass too. That was a good rock bass. You're tiny, but we'll take you. And I think I know what you are. Yep, sure enough are. And I gotta watch where I step, because I ain't got much room up here. Monster, El Monstro, El Gigante, Coosa bass. Alright, I'm gonna get you back, get untangled, and I think right there we're gonna call her quits. And I just now realized something. Of all these years of fishing this Greenway, there's a trail right there straight across from me. I'll have to look and see what business that's behind. That way I'll know whether or not I can actually park there and walk down. But yeah, there's a trail right there. But yeah, usually this right here is a lot deeper and got a lot more flow in it. But it's not, of course. It hasn't rained a lot in the last week or two. So anyway, we'll see y'all here in just a second. Well, y'all, that's the end of it. That was a really good, just shy of 2-hour little fishing trip up and down the creek here. I think we only covered about a mile of the roughly 12 to 14 miles this creek covers. And there's a ton of other places that some really good fish hide in this creek. But like I've said in previous videos, if you want to find places like this to fish, look at Google Maps, Apple Maps, Google Earth, especially Onyx if you want to look at property lines and stuff like that, see what state property, public property, private, and all that. And if you find some private property you want to fish and don't know who to look for, Onyx will show you. Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Back here on Tennessee River doing our final day of the 5 Greenways 5 days thing. Anyway, this is one of the bigger places that I planned on fishing. Like, this park is huge. Like, it goes for several miles up here behind me. There's pavilions for picnicking or reading books or, you know, whatever. There's places where people can play ball and ride bikes. And there's piers to fish from, which is what we're going to do. And hopefully I can get to one of them, because riding around, look at some of them upriver, they were already packed full. Which, it is a fairly nice day, kind of cloudy, but not too bad. I'm going to work with worms today. I don't know if I'm going to bother with taking one of my cat rods out or not, because these piers are pretty high off the water, and I don't have a drop net to get down and reach them. So, anyway, let's get rigged up, get down here, and see if we can catch a couple of fish. Somebody left a toy dinosaur down here on a pier. Are you going to be what brings me good luck today? Alright, I've only got about 2 hours worth of filming that I can do because I've only got 2 batteries with me. But starting out, we're going to use a 8-foot ACC crappie sticks 2-piece rod with just a little split shot above a hook with some night crawler on it. And we're just going to drop her straight off the side of the pier here. Set my drag. Let's go down just a hair and get in some of this slightly deeper water. But this whole bank here has several piers all along the river. People fish from all the time. A lot of big fish get caught off of these piers. There we go. First fish. That would hit it like a freaking truck. Nice gill. I thought it was something a lot more serious than that. All right. Yeet. Well, at least we're not skunked. What I would like to do is catch a really small bluegill, you know, about a 3, 4, or 5 inch size. Well, about 3 or 4. Cut it up and use it as cut bait. My other rod, I got rigged up with just a little knocker rig, not expecting much of anything to work really, but hey, you never know until you know. Oh, hey, what do you feel pretty near good? You just started swimming off with it before I even knew you was on. You got my wormy little heifer. That's all right, we got plenty more. If you were a little bit smaller, I would use you as cut bait. Alright, I should drop her back down. I've just got a little jig head crawler rigged up on this rod here. Nibble.
And it's gone.
And no worm. That was quick. Well, if I can get that untangled, it'll definitely be a good thing that I brought 2 tubs of worms, because I'm definitely going to need them. But anyway, this rod here is just another 6-inch stash stick. This is a 6.9 medium. I've got some 20-pound braid down to a 12-pound leader, and just a very simple knocker rig with a circle hook. If I can catch a small enough bluegill, I'm gonna cut it up, use it as cut bait, and just chuck it out toward the middle a little ways. Hopefully not catch anything gargantuan, because we're only about 15-18 feet off the water right here, and I can't exactly get to the the rocks down here.
And it's gone.
Are you serious? That thing hadn't been in the water 5 seconds and I already got all my freaking worm. At the rate that I'm going, I'm going to go through every single one of these night crawlers real quick. Gotcha. You ain't real big, but you'll be dang fine bait for that other rod. You know what, I might even just put you on live. So far, we're up to 3 bluegills. So, since that one didn't manage to rob me of my worm, you won't get to be, you put on as live bait. Make sure all the scales are off the hook point there. What we're going to do, loosen the drag, put it down here in this corner, and put it way down like that so that it can't get away. Might as well check this one while we're at it. Ooh, that's good. Jeez. That one didn't have no problem getting a whole bluegill down, or whole bluegill. Be funny if a bluegill could eat a live bluegill. Chill, 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 chill. That one didn't have a problem getting a whole chunk of night crawler down. Definitely the biggest one of the day. That right there actually felt good on that 8 foot ACC rod. I don't use it very often just because 8 foot's a lot longer rod than I typically use. But it is a fun rod. Good for using heavier jigs, longer, distance casting, vertical jigging, stuff like that. Slip corking for sure.
And it's gone.
Are you serious? I just dipped that in the water and my worm's gone. Ooh, that one grabbed it as soon as it hit the water, and I didn't lose my worm. That's a plus. Dude, you're extra spicy. You need to chill out. Last look. I'm about convinced that these river bluegills are meaner than these creek bluegills that I catch. Got it. Well, I lost my worm, but I didn't lose my fish, and that's all that matters. Beast. Jeez, this one's got some gusto. It's because it's a friggin' stud. I was kind of fearing this. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to take a cooler down there in case I catch some big bluegill and do a catch and cook. And I didn't grab a cooler or a bucket. And I've caught several just slobs. That right there will make a couple of good little bluegill nuggies. And by golly, you know what? Instead of walking back and forth to rebait and all that stuff, I'm just going to take my stuff down here. And yes, I do use some bandage shears to cut my worm into smaller pieces. And the reason being is I'm using a tiny little jig head. There's no reason whatsoever to use a whole night crawler, because all you're going to be doing is wasting bait and reducing your chances of hooking up. So when you're using a small jig head like this, just cut off a little bitty piece or pinch off a piece and save yourself the money, because bait like worms and stuff ain't cheap anymore. Another one. This one ain't nearly as big as that last one, but it's a nice one. It can most definitely calm down. I swear y'all are much meaner than the bluegills we got back home. I say back home like I'm 200 miles away, when in reality I'm actually like 40. Another one. They ain't real big, but we're catching. That's all that matters. Ow, 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 ow. You just stabbed me in the sternum with your fin. And for once, I actually brought my slime rag down with me. That way I don't go home with shorts and a shirt that smell like fish. So far you have not brought me bad luck. Well, here I sit, broken-hearted. No, not really. I do kind of want to film a little bit more of this part to kind of show it off, but at the same time I'm not going to name the place. If you know it, then you know. But there's also a lot of people down here, and I really don't want to come off as sketchy. I mean, I look sketchy enough as it is, but that's neither here nor there. But we caught a good mess of fish. Steve the Stegosaurus here didn't bring us bad luck, so I want to give it a few more minutes, fish, and then decide whether or not I want to go to another spot and try and catch a couple of fish. But I am also considering going ahead and leaving, because if I leave now, I'll beat that 5 o'clock traffic. So yeah, that's an option. So I'm gonna try to catch a couple more fish at least. Got it. Basically, let me get this thing unhooked here and I'll explain what I'm doing to combat these brutal winds that I'm dealing with here, all of 2 to 3 miles per hour. Beast. What I'm doing here since the wind is blowing from this direction, upstream, I'm having to take my jig and instead of just tossing it out there and let it sit on the bottom, which ain't gonna happen, I'm chucking it upstream, you know, about 30-40 feet, because that's about all I can get because of the wind, and just steadily reeling it and twitching it just a little bit, but reeling it just enough to keep it up off the bottom. And that's about it. Now once I get closer to the pier, I'll just let it drop straight down, and usually gets hit like it did just right there. You know, I bet most of y'all are wondering, does this loser ever catch anything other than bluegill? I promise that I do. It's just, like I said a billion times over, I'm a numbers angler. I like catching numbers of stuff. Might as well check on the itty bitty one while I'm thinking about it here. But yeah, I'm pretty much just having to cast upstream and let my bait just drift with the current, because they're only about 13 to 15,000 cubic feet per second flow today, which is pretty dang slow. Like, I honestly do a lot better when it's like 18 to 32,000. But I mean, fish are getting caught. But yeah, if you're just using a little jig head and crawler, you don't need a whole worm worth of bait there. Just, you know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches worth of worm, that's all you need. You're gonna save yourself some money by not using up all of your bait like that. Gotcha, you little itty bitty goober. Spazington beast. I know these folks down from me are probably wondering, why is this guy throwing all these fish back? Well, it's because I didn't bring a bucket. I would definitely be keeping some of these if I knew I was going to catch some of them that are, you know, decent size. I thought I felt a nibble. It was just that though, just a nibble. I would not be offended if some of these bigger bluegill like I have been catching would come along. That would be quite the nice thing. Tell you what, these little bluegill about this size, you know, that 4 to 6, 7 inch range, are just stacked underneath this pier. Now, it'd be nice if something come along and picked up one of these other 2 rods, but you know, beggars can't be choosers and things and such. Didn't lose that one though. I hope this bunch up here, two piers up from me, is doing good, because they got bells on their rods and all I'm hearing is jingling. That one's a little bit nicer, not by much, but a little bit nicer. Chill beast. So far, I think everything that we've caught has been bluegill, which that's fine, whatever. I like some variety though. I'm surprised this piece of worm has lasted for more than 2 fish. Another one. This one feels a little bit nicer. This one is a little bit nicer. This is probably the second biggest one of the day. See how many I can get off of that worm, but it's another nice one. I don't know how bad the camera angles have been. When I'm looking over the pier, I have to have my camera pointed up just a little bit so that you're not looking at that. So it kind of messes with things and stuff. This guy 2 piers down from me, well, he's got something decent on there. Seen a nice little bow on his rod. Oh, that one's nicer. Kind of, sort of, not really. I was up there watching the dude above me, and that one came along. Weren't paying nary a bit of attention to it. I got a question. In your opinion, which is worse, a sunburn or a wind burn? I think the sunburns are just, they're more long term. Wind burns just suck more, but they're shorter term. I kind of feel like I'm gonna have one of them wind burns today, because we got a pretty steady breeze going. Oh shoot, I missed one right there. Didn't miss that one though. El Monstro. El Gigante. I don't even know how many we've caught so far, but I know we've caught that many. You know, we've caught a pretty good amount. I could just call it, you know, give it a couple more, but catch a couple more and then head to another place and work on another video. That way I'd have 2 to line up, because I am getting a little bit behind on videos. And you can stop that so that I don't lose my worm. Another big one. Whew, almost took myself there. My first snag and break of the day. Did I get anything back? Yes. Actually, I got my jig head back too. Just bent it out a little bit. And that is A-OK fine and dandy. That's a heavy duty little fly tying jig right there. These are just Timora fly tying jigs. You can get them off of Amazon. It's like $8, $8, $9, $10 for 50 of them. And they're tough. They're a lot enough wire that, you know, they are plenty for bluegill, but strong enough for, you know, some bigger fish. This crap's starting to get frustrating. I'm basically just dipping my daggum worm in the water.
And it's gone.
Holy crap. Did we finally hook up with one? It stole my damn worm, which is expected. But, I mean, we finally hooked up with one. Y'all, I've missed about 15 fish since the last one we caught. Hopefully y'all be able to see. But if, well, I don't know if y'all can see that, but the TVA Lake Info app, if you have a smartphone, go on there, download the TVA Lake Info app, and you can favorite all of the river systems in Tennessee. That way, before you go fishing, you can check the water flow and depths and all that stuff. That is, if you are really serious about keeping track of water depth and all that. I mostly look at it for the water flow, because like this section here, like I said, I typically catch bigger and better, or have better trips when the water's flowing like 18 to 30,000. There's another one. And I tell you what, that bunch down there 2 piers from me must be in a mess of them, because I ain't done nothing but hear jingles from their boat, or their pier. There we go. That one was hooked a little bit deep, but I was able to get her. There's another one. Not big. Man, that thing is pretty. That's a small bluegill, but dang, that thing's got some gorgeous colors on it. If you would chill the out, Man, look at the colors on that bluegill. Deep copperish colors, deep greens, the iridescent blue on the gill plate. There, right there's one of the prettiest bluegill I've caught in a long time. Aside from the one I'm putting on the screen. I need to be careful about doing that, taking pictures and then tossing them back, because knowing my luck, I'm gonna toss the phone back instead of the fish, and that's much more expensive. Ooh, it's a little bit nicer one, not by a whole heck of a lot. He definitely hit it a lot better than the last couple little idiots that we caught. That one's a pretty one too. Something's definitely got a hold of that one. That is more than likely a gar, as you know, tight shaped as that V bite is. And Lord knows there's a lot of gar in this section of the river. That one's a little bit nicer. That one's considerably nicer. And you flung my piece of worm off, you little goober snoot. I don't know what a goober snoot is, but you're one of them. Beast. I'm gonna take a picture of you before I forget, because I'm sure my counts for the day are way off. And if you're wondering why I take pictures of every fish that I catch, I have a logbook. But yeah, I have a logbook. Whenever I update my logbook, I just delete all the pictures, so I don't have 4 billion pictures of fish hanging out on my phone. There's another one. A little bit nicer. Little bit nicer. Alright, you can stop slinging that nasty old river water in my face. I got water, I don't need that to drink. This is just dumb. He popped off. I did get in contact with it though, so that counts. I wonder what this guy in the boat down here is doing. He's waving his hands kind of like he's trying to cast some Expelliarmus and Stupefy spells from Harry Potter. If he got his letter to Hogwarts and I didn't, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah. That didn't take long. Tell you what, these bluegill here are so freaking vicious. Like the ones that we'll catch in the creeks there close to the house, at least they nibble a little bit. These here, they just, you know, it's like a Mack truck with no brakes and a full load going downhill. It's that kind of bite. They're just little freaking piranhas. You know, I thought I was getting a bite there, and I sure enough did. I got a couple of nibbles, and it just kind of went blank. And then my rod started to drop down. It's a good thing that I am a numbers angler. And, you know, if you are too, bluegill's where it's at. It's kind of hard to get away from in a lot of occasions. I haven't quite yet got bored with them. Ow, mother. I haven't quite yet got bored with them, but I'm getting there. No, they're just stud. I guess I could have showed you that one a little bit better, but no. After catching about 4.5 billion little runt bluegills, you kind of forget. And ugh. Right there's one thing that I hate about these 6-inch stash stick rods. The hook keeper being on top of the rod just gets in the way. Another one. Jeez. This is hilarious. Let's see if I can catch something on that tiny little piece of worm. Yeah, sure enough did. I think I've even got a little bit left to try to do it again. Jeez, dude, chill out. Dang. Oh, what the deal is with these bluegill? Like, as soon as they get up out of the water, it's like they're on crack. You know what? We're snagged again. And we broke off again. I believe we're going to go ahead and call our quits right there, because you can only catch so many bluegill before it starts feeling psychotic, so might as well see how this one's doing. So yeah, you're still alive. Kind of surprised the turtle didn't get to you. So anyway, I'm gonna get all my crap back together and we'll see you here in just a little bit. Facts about Earth. Earth is the only planet scientists know of where life exists. It's also the only planet we know of that has bacon, Philly cheesesteak, pizza, and cornbread. Might be some cornbread, especially honey cornbread or jalapeno cornbread, but definitely pizza. Oh, and tacos too. It's the only one we know of with tacos. You know, one addition that they made to this park, I don't know exactly when, but that right there, that dock is for loading and unloading kayaks. Like, they've got a little slip specifically for that, which the actual boat ramp is just right down here. Well, that was fun. I think we ended up catching somewhere between 20, I think it was 27, and maybe closer to 30, because I'm pretty sure I forgot to take pictures and document a couple of them. But hey, that's all that matters. We caught fish and caught a good mess of them. Like, we're making up for the roughly 2.5 months of this summer where fishing was not very fun or user-friendly at all. So if it means dealing with a truckload of tiny little bluegill, then so be it. But anyway, I'll link some of the gear that I was using down in the video description, so I hope you like the video. We will see you in the next one. I knew I should have left earlier. There's no way I'm beating that traffic now.